G'day. This week it looks as though I'm probably trying to poke the bear, but in fact I'm giving you information that might be very helpful if you're out shopping for a caravan. Now, knowing the difference between a tourer, which is just a straight caravan, an off-road and a semi-off-road really could help. Could help in the dollars you spend, could help in the fact that you're able or not able to tow it with your car, and all sorts of questions. And I went to a caravan company and I decided to seek professional advice rather than just give my opinion. I do give a little bit of my opinion. Anywho, let's go. I'm here at a caravan place called Goldstream. Now they make good quality products. In fact, my first caravan that I had when I headed off around Australia was a Goldstream. Now the reason I sold it was because I really wanted an air conditioner and it was just too hard to fit one on and all that. Might as well just get another caravan. So as I said, Goldstream, I'm going to talk to a guy called Mitch, and he knows all about caravans. Just going to ask him a couple of questions. Let's go have a chat. So as I said earlier on, I'm at a company called Goldstream. They make quality caravans, and I used to have one. The only reason I don't have one anymore is it was a little bit too small for me and I wanted an air conditioner, and it was just as easy to sell it and start again. But I do love their product. So I wanted to ask Mitch, and Mitch is the manager here. Mitch is hopefully going to be able to tell us the difference between an off-road and a semi-off-road.
So the difference between the Adventure Pack and the off-road pack is basically our Adventure Pack is a soft off-road type unit. It's a little bit lower in the axle capacities. We use the Elco Enduro, even though it's Elco's off-road chassis and suspension, we market that as our Adventure Pack. So as a soft off-roader. When we move into our off-road type unit, as in our Panther in a pop top or our Rhino in a caravan, we use the Cruise Master, which runs up into the XT suspension or the ATX suspension. Obviously, different battery management systems go between the two vans, being the Panther or the Rhino package in that more off-road unit. Bigger battery systems, a lot more solar, a lot more independent. So, you can get out there and use the van properly and still have, a little bit of longevity behind you.
And do you think it makes that much difference if you were, say, going around Australia, whether you had a semi-off-road or an off-road?
Look, you can go around Australia in either, I would have thought. It depends on the locations that you want to head. Mm-hmm. I start my long service next week. And our trip consists of a trip up through the middle of the Unadata, around the Morini Loop, up to Darwin, then back down across Kununurra, across the Gib. So we're taking an off-road unit for that. But obviously you can travel around the country in a standard on-road touring van.
Yeah. Is there a cost difference major?
Cost difference, there is certainly, because of the extra features in an off-road one, yes, definitely. The bigger chassis, the bigger battery management systems, the 300 amps of lithium these days compared to a 110 amp hour is the current sort of thing, size battery in an Adventure Pack. So yeah, it all adds up for sure.
Yeah, and weight?
Weight, yes, again, we're never we're not the lightest sort of brand in the world. We do have a little bit of weight behind us, traditionally made sort of van with a fully framed type van. So we don't skimp on the weight by no means. Yes, so, our average 17-foot unit is around 2,000 kilo. But
still pretty light for 17 foot.
Yeah. As an Adventure Pack, getting into the off-road pack around 2.2. So there's a couple hundred kilo difference between, as a single axle van goes, between the two sort of models. That
surprised me. I would have thought it'd be a whole lot more. Going in, like with the extra shock absorbers and all that.
200 kilos is a lot of weight, Paul.
Is it? I wouldn't know.
In the Cruise Master brand, they obviously do an air suspension. We, out of our half a dozen we build a week, probably one of them would be on air.
Oh, okay.
One just went out only yesterday, full auto adjust, but commonly it's the option 3 level that Cruisemaster has, which is the airbag suspension replacing the coil, has the air holding tank, all the digital gauge and left and right, ups and downs, and airline points and things like that.
And is that sort of that extra option sort of between $3,000 and $5,000 extra?
Yeah, depending on single axle, tandem axle, but around 3.5 in a single axle.
With your off-road, do you actually, with your warranty on your off-road, do you warranty the off-road aspect?
We do. We don't put any limitations on where a customer can take a van. We hope that a customer will do the right thing and, take out a bit of tyre pressure and decrease it all and drive to conditions. On a single axle van, which is commonly what we're probably doing a majority of, simply because it works well with a lot of your dual cab utes without going to your full size, cruisers and things like that. We try to give a minimum of between 500 and 600 kilo. But when you're running with the Cruisemaster suspension and you've got that 2,800 to 3 ton suspension, and the van's coming in at 2.2, you've got those sort of, allowable limits that you can play with. So we all try to give a customer, commonly about 600. That's empty tear, remember, so you've got to still take your 2 water tanks and your 2 gas bottles. So, commonly you can say 200 kilo comes out of that, but you've still got that 400 kilo to play with.
And most off-road vans are around about 3 to 3.5 metres high with the air conditioning?
To the top of the aircon, just over 3, about 3.1.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Compressor fridges are available as an option on any product, and the various different, manufacturers of them.
Well, there's 3 types of caravan. There's a standard tourer. Now the standard tourer you can buy second hand from, really maybe 7.5 to 10 grand. No guarantee whether it'll get around Australia, but you won't have any luxuries, but it'll be real cheap, and you won't be able to go even probably on dirt roads. Next one is a semi-off-road. Now semi-off-road is good, it kind of covers that area just in case you did want to go on a gravel road or an occasional bumpy or corrugated road. You could definitely do it and you'd be reasonably safe depending on if you're buying brand new, depending on the manufacturer. If you're buying second hand, then you can do a couple of tests just before you buy it and head off with that. And then the other one is the off-road. The thing is with the off-road, you might be getting into a bit of overkill and paying way too much money because number one, they're going to be heavier, they're going to be a little bit higher off the ground, and the upkeep is a bit more than it is on the semi-off-road. So we could be talking a fair bit of cost in a brand new caravan. So that's something to consider whether you really do need an off-road or semi-off-road caravan. The last couple of things I want to talk about is if you're buying second hand and you want all these little different modifications on your caravan, pretty good chance that the people who bought it are going to put all those on and you're not really paying for the modifications. You're just paying for the basic value of that caravan at the time. Things that would be great that you might end up having, so they might have put a lot of solar on the roof, they might have changed over the batteries into lithium and got quite a few in there, they might have a washing machine in the back, all sorts of goodies that you're kind of getting for free. So that's definitely a plus. And the last thing you might want to consider is if you're still not sure, you can actually hire caravans, like private caravans. Camplify is one of the companies I know you can do it with because I used to hire out my caravan through Camplify. So that might be a consideration, and that way you can hire the caravan that you were very seriously thinking on buying from a private person through someone like Camplify, and you can take it away for a few days or a week and think, oh, well, you know what, maybe semi-off-road is not what I want, maybe I really do want the whole 9 yards. So that too is a consideration. Here's 4 things to consider. So if you're going, just before you go to the caravan show with your checkbook and your credit card ready to buy, just do a bit of research yourself. First of all, storage. Now with the pop top, there's all that section of the top that's popping that you've got no cupboards on, so you can't store. That's a bit of a downside, but the good side is with the pop top, you've got all that area you have airflow through, so it makes a major difference. And having owned both the pop top and the solid caravan I've got, that is definitely a consideration. Second thing, be sure that your tow vehicle can tow it. Now Prado, for instance, can only pull 2.5 tonne fully loaded. Most of the newer ones like the Ranger, D-Max and the BT50, they're all 3.5 tonne, so just be aware of that. Make certain you go jump on forums and check out reviews. Different people say, oh yeah, blah blah caravan, absolutely great. So you'll get a lot of information from that. And if you're at campsites, ask around as well. And the final thing is, if you really, really want to get delved out deep down, pretty sure this is on Facebook, there's a thing called Lemon Caravans. And what they do there is, there's a whole lot of people who put their information up there and they say, I bought blah blah caravan and it's just been a nightmare. The warranty was shocking, it's just fallen apart, I wanted my money back and it's going to court, and it's just like you think, oh, it's called Lemon Caravans. But the upside is caravanning, you are absolutely going to love it. If you do end up getting a semi-off-road or an off-road, you might want to consider the coupling. Now personally, if I was going to be doing any dirt roads, or probably even just highway, I would straight away, and I bought second hand, I would straight away change the 50mm coupling to either a D35, D45 if the caravan's even heavier, or a Treg or a poly block. There's probably maybe another couple of variations. But the great thing about those other ones I was talking about, it means you've got movement that way usually, and also that way. So that's really handy in the event of you're going through some really wild roads or some deep, going in and you need trying to get out of the, whatever they call that behind you, without getting stuck. So yeah, really would, that'd be the first thing I'd change if I bought a second hand. And if I'd bought a brand new, if it's semi-off-road or off-road, I would insist on having the upgrade of getting a D35, Treg or poly block or whatever variation, so they've got a lot of movement forward and back. It's safety too, because allegedly, I don't know how true this is, but allegedly you could roll the caravan and as it rolled, it's not actually taking the car with you because it's got that movement. So that's definitely a consideration. Now I'm not dissing salespersons in the caravan industry, but I have been to enough caravan shows to when you go in and you're checking out the caravan, if they actually think that you're going to buy, they really tend to kind of pull back on the full information you need. I mean, if you've got your checkbook out or your credit card ready to go and you're really pumped and they say, oh, this caravan, let me show all the fantastic features. Look at the woman or the guy who's into cooking, look at this kitchen, it's just like my kitchen rules. And they'll do all that kind of sales pitch. You can ask them, so is it off-road or semi-off-road? This caravan, mate, will take you anywhere you want to go. Absolutely guarantee, fully guarantee. So you want to be careful of that sales pitch, because in reality, if they're not prepared to say it is either semi-off-road or off-road, then you might get caught up and end up getting the caravan that you don't really want. So the other thing you could ask them is, so with the warranty, is this caravan covered on warranty if I do go off-road? If they balk on that, then that's a red flag. It probably is not as good a quality and everything as you think it is. And as always, there you have it. Hopefully that's been a help to you, especially if you're out thinking about buying a semi-off-road or an off-road caravan. There's a couple of tips and tricks there and things to watch out for. Now, if you want further information, jump on my website, which is www.paulwheeldrive.com, and I've got even further information there, and I can easily be contacted through that one as well. Now, if you found the video useful, helpful, and or entertaining, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, well, what can I do? And if you think the video is worth sharing, that too would be great. Until next time, this is Paul Wheel Drive, signing off.